You can have $20 million, Cory, but if you don't have a purpose, I would argue that your retirement might not be so great, sadly.
Welcome to Upticks with Jake Falcon, founder and CEO of Falcon Wealth Advisors. In this podcast, we help high net worth individuals overcome financial complexities. We do this by enhancing financial literacy and discussing topics in a language free from industry jargon. Join us as we help explain exactly what having a solid financial plan means, as Jake draws from years of experience in helping hundreds of individuals get financially organized and focused on their goals. We hope you find Upticks educational, entertaining, and shareable. Now, on to the show.
Welcome back to Upticks with Jake and Cory. Cory, welcome back to the show.
Jake, thank you for having me.
And congrats, baby Bittner is here.
Yes, she has arrived. Daisy Lou Bittner was born on June 11th.
June 11th. That's a good date, right? And your birthday is?
June 9th.
June 9th. And then Father's Day was?
Yes, the 16th. So she kind of threaded the needle. It's been a big week. There's been a lot that's happened. You always ask me what's new on the show, Jake. There's been a lot that's happened since the last
You're a changed man, though. I mean, now forever, June's going to be Cory's birthday, Daisy's birthday, Father's Day. It'd be a good month for you guys. For you and Daisy. I don't know about Cassie.
Yeah, she knows it's going to be the gauntlet every June.
Yeah, it's going to be the gauntlet every June for her. Good. Well, congrats. And Mama's doing fine, I assume?
Yes. Yep. We've been home for actually just 3 nights now, but we are getting settled into routine. Cassie's doing well and healthy. So is the baby. So we're just getting to normal, figuring out what normal is.
And that's true dedication, Cory. You didn't want to miss an episode of Upticks. So my challenge to our audience, Cory, if Cory's wife can have a baby and 3 days later he's recording the show, then there should be no excuse for anybody watching or listening to Upticks, because Cory's definitely taking one for the team and still recording. So thank you, Cory.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Jake. Thank you.
Congrats. With me, same old, no complaints. Golf season snuck up on me hard this year. I don't feel like my game is where it normally is. So I feel a little pressed to practice and get better. Mm-hmm. However, I'm having a good time out on the golf course. I've had some fun rounds. And so that's what's new. Also, what's new, Cory, Retiring Right has become a bestseller out there. So thank you to everyone that has already purchased their copy. If you haven't purchased your copy, you can check out on Amazon.com. We've got an ebook, we've got hardback, and we've got paperback. So whatever your preferred method of reading great content is, check it out on Amazon. It's and really cool that it's out there. And Cory, people are starting to buy it.
That's excellent. I've got my copy, Jake, for my paternity leave right here.
Have you read it?
I've not read it yet.
All right.
This month it's happening.
All right, good. My wife read it. Rachel read it for me on my birthday.
Excellent.
That was her birthday present. She got me something else, but that was a part of her birthday gift. She read it one sitting. So
knowing Rachel, she probably read it in like 30 minutes.
Yeah, it was a little longer than that, but she knocked it out. She liked it. So
very cool.
Thank you. Yeah. So, okay. Before we dive into today's topics, Cory, I did want to talk about one of the things that makes Falcon Wealth Advisors a little bit different than other financial services firm is our commitment to our response time. How many times, Cory, have you heard from a new client that the reason they're firing their advisor is because their advisor would never call them back or email them back? Haven't you heard that a ton?
Yeah, I haven't kept track, but it always surprises me because it's a regular occurrence.
Yes, it's very regular and very typical, sadly, in this industry. And you know what? Without going on an extreme tangent, I think that's happening in many industries, not just financial services. So one commitment our team has made is that if any client emails service@falconwealthadvisors.com and they don't hear back from a member of our team within 24 business hours, then we will take them to lunch as an apology for that lack of timely communication. And so this is a big deal to us. We understand that many times clients are giving us, if anything, all or most all of their life savings. And if you don't hear back from somebody that's helping you manage that in a timely manner, then shame on that person. So again, we want to hold that commitment true. We want to be strong to it. And again, it's something that we have drawn a line in the sand and said, we are going to commit to this because we want our clients to know that we care and that we are going to be here for them when they need something. So again, all of our clients, if you ever need anything, and it's not it's not urgent where you need to call us, I would encourage you to email service@falconwealthadvisors.com, and you can certainly expect a reply within the next business day, basically. All right, good. Last quick plug, Cory. Our subscriber count continues to grow. I think we're at 1,300 subscribers on YouTube. Our episodes normally get hundreds of listens or views. So again, thank you for all of our subscribers. Please like and share our content. The whole point of Upticks is to enhance financial literacy. All right, Cory, with that, let's get into it.
All right, Jake, let's get started. New Social Security Medicare projections are good news.
Finally, Cory, something positive about Social Security. I feel like all the news reports on Social Security is going to run out. Social Security is going to run out. Medicare is going to run out. That's all you hear from the news. I found this article or this report that says, due to the strong economy and labor market, Social Security insolvency has been pushed out a year to 2035. So it's not like it's been solved, but it's been pushed out a year. And Medicare Part A was pushed out 5 years. So again, for those people that don't know, there's an issue for Medicare and its solvency also, and that's been pushed out to 2036. Now, there is still a lot Congress can do and more than likely will do. We just don't think that anything will change anytime soon. And my point of sharing this report or this article, Cory, is that I don't want people to get too overly concerned about Social Security running out. Congress has the power to make adjustments to help it. They're just not going to do it until it's absolutely necessary. And the reason is when they go to make a change, they're going to upset one side of the coin. They're either going to upset the boomers or they're going to upset the millennials or Gen Z or X or whatever. And so somebody's going to be mad about the changes. And so, of course, the whole point of Congress people are to get reelected and they don't want to upset anybody. So that's why they're not doing anything. The good news is, though, I don't want people to, like, we are in a strong economy and we're in a very strong labor market right now. And so that is actually helping these government programs. Do you have any thoughts on this before we go to the next one?
The only quick point I would make is the taxation of Social Security, which we talk about, Jake. I think that's just a good example that we have as a blueprint of when this has happened before during the Reagan administration, when there was a funding crunch around Social Security, and that's when they began taxing the benefits. But again, that was something that didn't happen until it really needed to. But that was an example of a solution to help extend this. And I think we're fully expecting, something to change, but it's just a matter of when it's going to and the reality of the political nature of it all, like you stated.
Right. Good, exactly. So I thought it was good. Some good news to share with our audience. Okay, Cory, on to the next one here. Pump up your 401k. New Roth rules make it easy.
Yes. First, let me just start with some quick stats, Jake. Humor me here. Do you want to take a guess back in 2012, what percentage of retirement plan sponsors offered a Roth option in 2012?
In 2012, okay. So that had been my fifth or sixth year as an advisor. I don't remember talking about Roth 401ks. I would say 10%. It
was higher than that. It was about 50%.
50?
50 in 2012.
Well, I'll tell you this, not that many in Kansas City, I feel like. It wasn't something we were talking about. Anyways, go ahead. 50,
I agree.
That's
and
good,
now
though.
It's up to 90 as of
Wow, so almost nearly all, 90%. Good.
Yep, and the Secure Act 2.0 that was signed a couple of years ago means that there's no more required minimum distributions on Roth 401ks. That was something that was relevant previously. It wasn't relevant for Roth IRAs, but it was for 401ks. Now there's no required minimum distributions for Roth accounts. So and the article here was just highlighting with Roth dollars specifically, and we talked about conversions, we have these conversations with clients, but with a Roth, one thing that you don't have to think about is how much of this money is mine. $1 million in a Roth IRA versus $1 million in an IRA. It's a big difference in terms of what is yours to actually spend.
You're right, Cory. That's right. So let's talk about this. So $1 million in an IRA is not $1 million. But go ahead. Yes, because it's got to be taxed. The Roth has already been taxed. Good. So what else were you saying?
Yeah, what I wanted to state was really the primary takeaway, I think, around the no more Roth 401k required minimum distributions was one of the changes in place here. But I think the main takeaway is that saving money, first and foremost, is the top priority. But proper tax planning can have a tremendous impact, which is one of the things that we do at Falcon Wealth Advisors for our clients. because the whole pre-tax versus Roth contribution conversation is not something to establish once and then leave it for 30 years, because your incomes in your situation may change. So there may be some years where it's more advantageous to contribute Roth dollars. There may be some years where it's more advantageous to contribute pre-tax dollars. But the point is, with proper tax planning, it can have a really big impact, but ultimately saving the money first and foremost is the top priority.
Yes, that's a really good point, Cory, that it's not a set and forget it. We would argue that needs to be reviewed every single year.
Yes.
And you might need to adjust it every single year, believe it or not. But that's, again, part of the reason that we do tax planning for our clients. Is a big part of our service that we do offer our clients. And every client that's listening or watching this, if you haven't gone through our tax planning process, I would highly encourage you to reach out to service@falconwealthadvisors.com, schedule a time with one of our financial planners. And if you're still working, they can tell you, frankly, even if you're retired, Cory, they can tell you if you need to convert money to a Roth. So again, let's have that Roth conversation with you, and let's make sure that you are setting yourself up to be tax efficient. Again, we're not tax advisors, so full disclosure, we're not trying to be your CPA here. We're trying to look out the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years on your situation and say, how can we pay taxes at the lowest rate given the information that we know today? Good one, Cory. I'm glad you included that article.
All right. Very good, Jake. Money won't stay inside the lines.
All right. I got ahead of you here. Carl Richards, someone that we've quoted on the show before. I wanted to just read an excerpt from his article, Cory. It's short, so bear with me here. So he says, this is quote, "Stop for a minute and think about how we show the value of money. Nice, neat columns on our financial statements, dollars and cents. Money appears to be so clear-cut and logical, at least on paper," which is funny if you think about it, because if you're like me, and this is Carl, and almost every other person I've ever talked to, your feelings about money are anything but clear-cut and logical. They're tricky, sticky, and sometimes contradictory, emotional, painful, joyful, and aspirational. Money isn't as neat and tidy as we'd like it to be. Try as we might, we can't seem to figure out how to make money stay inside the lines. It's almost poetic. I feel like I was reading a poem there. So I loved what he said. So again, and we have to remember this, Cory, as wealth advisors, that we've got great financial planning software. We've got great investment portfolio tracking software. We have a custodian that reports it all. But all that doesn't really mean anything if our clients are nervous or uneasy or scared or greedy. And so that's a big part of our job, is taking that listening and taking that emotional human being and translating that into the spreadsheet or the dollars and cents, and hopefully marrying the two and making sure that they match up and are aligned. Now, the key component here, though, as humans, is we don't want to make irrational decisions based on emotion. That's a big part of our job, Cory, is to make sure that, yes, money is going to go outside the lines and things are going to come up, but we want to make sure we bring our clients back in so that their financial plan ultimately plays out the way that they want to see it played out. Not the way we want to see it played out, the way they want to see it played out. And so I thought this was a great article. He's completely accurate that it's not a nice, neat spreadsheet. And it's not that. Maybe for some engineers, maybe our engineer clients like that, and good for them. But I'm telling you, most people, it's a pretty emotional subject. What do you think?
That's really good. I think that when you were just reading that out loud, Jake, what was sticking out to me was, from meeting with hundreds, thousands of people over the years, that everyone's own perspective of their money is different. And it's usually shaped by, sometimes even their own upbringing, right? Their own relationship with money and what that's looked like. So the idea that it can all just be, consolidated into a spreadsheet, all neat and tidy, and, A and B and C and D are all going to look similar. Everybody's situation is different. Every human is going to be different. Everyone's approach to their finances is going to be different. So I think, my takeaway from this is, what my peer or my coworker or friend or someone else that I know, what they're doing and how neat and tidy their money is and how it all fits together is their thing. But what I'm doing is ultimately going to be my thing, that's going to be shaped by my own experiences. And where that really matters is in my financial plan.
Right. And I posted something about this on social media the other day, Cory, is that you can't scale financial advice.
Right.
So if a
No.
client is at a huge mega firm and they're getting plugged into these cookie cutter models and their advisor is just going through the motions, then they're not, to me, they're not adding much value. So again, that's why it's important that you meet with a wealth advisor who also has financial planners. And that's what I'm very, our planners do a great job here of getting into the weeds, getting to the emotions, and making sure that plan is lined up according to you specifically.
I have one more thing I just have to add to this, Jake, because this is so closely aligned with the experience that Cassie and I just went through with the baby. Jake, we were in the hospital for 3 nights after the baby was born, and we had all kinds of different people come into the room, making sure everything was going okay. Me being a detail-oriented, analytical spreadsheet type person, right? I was grasping, trying to get the right answers for how to do everything, right? In my mind, there's a right and a wrong. Even though people have told me for months, like, doesn't really matter. Every child's going to be different. I'm still trying to figure out the right way to do it. But I, had a pediatrician say, Cory, look, there is no right or wrong answer. What works for some person might not work for the next person. These really high level guidelines are what's most important. And then you'll figure out how to make it work for you. That's so closely aligned with this because I was, really for 2 or 3 days just grasping, trying to get the right answers until it really sunk in that there is no right or perfect answer. There's just not. And that's okay. And that's the way it's supposed to be, in fact.
Well, and think about it. And that's good. And good for you. And I don't know how I'll be. Hopefully, I'm lucky to have a kid, right, one day. I don't know how I'll be, but I get it. And they've been having kids, though. People have been having babies forever, right?
Forever.
So did you stay the night with Cassie in the hospital?
I did.
Wow. See, I was asking Rachel about that.
4 nights.
And I was like, we were comparing us to you guys. And I was like, I wonder if Cory's sleeping there. I was like, I would go home.
So, I don't think you would.
I would. I promise you I would. I've already taught. Rachel's good with that. She wouldn't want me there anyways.
Okay. Again,
but
whatever works, though. That's actually the point, though. Whatever works.
So you stayed there every night?
Yeah, we were both there for 4 nights.
Good for you, Cory. Good for you.
There's a nice little couch with a little pull-out cushion to lay on top of. But really just trying to get used to actually, especially after the baby was born, rooming in, the 3, Cassie and I and the baby being in the same room, everybody getting acclimated with each other was an important part of it for us.
Oh, so does the baby stay in the room with you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't know that. I thought they would take the baby away while you slept.
We did that each night we were there for a couple of hours. It was really like when we needed some relief where the nurses, because Cassie needs to heal. Right. And needs to be healthy.
Right.
So he needs rest. I needed rest. So, maybe for 3 or 4 hours a night, directly across the hall from us was a nursery where they would watch the baby so we could sleep, but they would bring her right back in when we wanted them to.
Okay. My tune might change. I thought the baby was gone all night.
You could do
You're
that.
right. If the baby is in there with Rachel, I might change. Okay, we'll see.
And you could.
First, I got to get her pregnant.
Some people do.
First, I got to get her pregnant, though. She's not pregnant
yet. There you
go.
So. We'll move past it.
All right, good. Thank you, Cory, for sharing that. All right. Next one here. Cory, not just the numbers.
This was a blog post from a blog called The Humble Dollar, which I have stumbled across over the years. And there's actually there's been a lot of posts out there that I've really liked. But what I liked about this one, it was actually written by a financial planner, Jake. But he suggested a 3-part approach to building a financial plan. And I just wanted to talk with you about how he kind of outlined the 3-part approach. 1 was math, 2 was mindset, and 3 was circumstances. So his point was in establishing a financial plan for everyone, the 3-part approach, math is a part of it, mindset and circumstances. So the math, of course, consider multiple scenarios, stress testing your financial plan, keeping it simple, managing taxes, etc. But the mindset, right, is ranking your goals. Think, for example, a second home in retirement versus more money in the bank or your portfolio for security. There's not necessarily a right or wrong. It's just a matter of what you're going to be comfortable with. But there's a trade-off between time and money, inheritance, charity. That's the kind of mindset piece. And then circumstances are stability of income during employment, health for you or your spouse, kids in their financial situation. Overall, those were the 3 points that he made, but I just wanted to highlight that because I thought it was a good approach because the mindset, the math, and the circumstances are going to be relevant for pretty much anybody establishing a financial plan.
I like that, Cory, and I think that's another way to phrase something that we already do, and I'll explain how we do that. So it's really good. The numbers are easy, right? I would argue any competent wealth advisor should be crunching the numbers for you. That's a big reason clients hire a wealth advisor.
But if the money won't stay in the lines, right? That's the other part.
Right. So I like what was the second one? It was
Mindset.
mindset. So mindset, Cory, when we ask our clients, why is money important to you? That is, to me, the mindset question there. Or we also sometimes we'll ask, do you have any money rules? Right? Some people say, never have credit card debt, drive my car for 10 years, pay off my mortgage before I retire, whatever. What are your money rules? Why is money important to you? What is your favorite thing to spend money on? These are questions we ask real clients, right? We ask these real questions. And then I like that last one is would you say circumstances?
Circumstances.
Circumstances would be the argument of why we have annual meetings with clients. Because life happens, things change, circumstances change. And so with all of our clients, we like to check in at least once. Some clients that are more complicated, maybe we meet 2 or 3 times a year. Again, but we're going to be proactive, reaching out to at least schedule those meetings once or twice a year. And I think that's the circumstances portion of it. So I love it. The numbers, your mindset, and then what's changed in your life. Good one.
Exactly.
It's a great, and I'm glad that we are already doing that, just in a little bit. Our definitions are just a little bit different. We're doing that though already.
Yep. And
Good one.
it was a really smart approach. I liked that. So.
All right, good. Cory, we got time for, I need to get back to the baby at some point. We got time for 2 more.
All right, Jake. New data shows most Americans don't expect to work until their mid-60s.
All right, here we go. I feel like we've talked about this before, but I had it in the doc anyways, Cory. So the article says that the Fed survey people, I guess, who expect to work beyond 62 fell to 45.8% in March, down from 55.4% 4 years ago. And just 31% of workers expect to work beyond 67 years old, down from 36% 4 years ago. And so the point of this article is that there could be Social Security implications based on this and other factors. There's also other things going on. People may be seeking out other forms of income in the quote unquote gig economy, right? There could be Uber drivers or Postmates or blogging or Instagram influencers, whatever. Or they may just be in better financial shape because more people have financial advisors than they did 4 years ago or 20 years ago. And also people are switching the way they work with AI. So I wanted to discuss this with you. What do you think about, basically this is arguing that people are wanting to retire sooner. Is it a culture shift, or do you think it's just a weird coincidence?
I think that people wanting to retire sooner than standard ages has probably been relevant for a long time. Now, though, it might be more relevant for people. But I think the definition of work and employment is actually much more broad, to your point here, that I find myself having more conversations with clients, with prospective clients, even with friends, family, whomever it is, of people that they're no longer viewing retirement as like, I will never work again. I will never earn another dollar. I need to save enough money to live off of it. They're just viewing it as, I don't want to work in the same capacity until I'm in my 60s, right? I want to have an employment option or employment optional period in my life. But there's more people who are thinking about just shifting downwards how they're working as opposed to just retiring altogether and turning it off. And I think that some of that is maybe just a generational difference.
Yeah, you're right. I think also, this would be my grandparents, maybe yours, where they had to work so many years to qualify for a pension.
Absolutely.
So their retirement date was almost calculated for them
when they started
by their employer. What's that?
Yeah, when they started, right? If they stayed with the same employer.
Right. So that was already pre-calculated. So there wasn't much thought. But now people have 401ks and savings. And, let's be clear, the stock market's been great, the last decade or whatever. It's been great for many years. And so I would argue people's 401ks are probably higher than what they thought they would be. And now they're meeting with wealth advisors saying, you know what, you can. I mean, how many times? A lot of times, Cory, we'll tell clients don't think they can retire, and we tell them they can, mathematically based, of course. And they don't understand. They didn't know that. They didn't even know they could afford to retire. And so I think that's a big part of it and something to think about. And I just think it's important for people. This is one of my favorite definitions of retirement is that, and I need to kind of make it my own and change some things around. But the gist of it is retirement is no longer having to trade your time doing something you don't want to do for money that you need, right? Or something along that line there. And so people are now getting able to trade their time doing something they want to do, getting income or not, because they have enough money saved to supplement that. And so that's what's exciting, I think, about America. I don't know what the other countries are at. Like, that's what's exciting now, is that people are finding other ways to spend their time versus doing a job that they don't want to do for money that they need to live. And so to me, so theoretically, Cory, I could already be retired. And maybe some would argue I'm pretty close to it. Like, I'm very fortunate that I've surrounded myself with a team of technical people that do a lot of the things that maybe I don't want to do every day, right? And so I am every day, month, week, year, whatever, I am building out Falcon Wealth Advisors to do things where I have the highest impact and that I enjoy doing.
Yes.
So that maybe I can do this for a much longer time, right? And that's pretty cool that you have the same opportunity. In fact, a lot of people have this opportunity. And so I think that's neat that you could be, Cory, you could turn 40 and consider yourself retired because you just wake up and do what you want to do.
Yep.
It so happens that
also
you're
think
coming
that
to Falcon Wealth Advisors. Go ahead.
I can wake up and do what I want to do while I'm working, right?
Well, that's what I'm getting at. So
exactly.
Working, you wouldn't be working. You'd be retired by my definition. So anyways.
Let's retire.
Right.
We'll still be around. All right. I'm just kidding. But
what's that?
I said, let's retire, Jake, but we'll still be around. We'll still be working.
Well, that's what I'm getting. That's what I'm trying to get at here, is that retirement is, again, no longer trading your time doing something you don't want to do. So if you're not trading, if you're spending your time doing what you want to do, then you are retired, is my argument.
That's part of the mindset.
That's all right. All right. Wrap us up here, Cory. We got one more, if that's all right with you. Got to get back to baby Daisy. Cory, from Retirement Planning Education Facebook group. What do you got here?
Yes.
Is it no title?
I'm part of this Retirement Planning Education Facebook group that has about 50,000 people in it. It's just interesting to me, Jake, to observe the questions that people ask, what they're posting, what they're talking about, etc. But recently, there was a question that was posed by someone who's part of this group anonymously, who said, for those who have already retired, would you mind sharing the one or two things that you wish you would have known before you retired, or what you would have done differently? I'm trying to learn as much as possible. So I've found this very fascinating just to read through what other people were contributing to this conversation. And the top answers that I gleaned, at least from this group, Jake, were that one, your health insurance can actually be low cost through the Affordable Care Act if you do tax planning properly. That was something that evidently a lot of people just didn't quite understand. A lot more people talked about having more Roth dollars sooner in retirement, understanding IRMA and the Medicare adjustments, the income monthly related adjustments, and the surprises around that, taxes in retirement. And then lastly, Jake, the daily routine of what you're doing if you are actually not, regardless of the definition, maybe of, I think in the context of this group, retirement being when you are stopping working, that a lot of people highlighted, like really having a better idea of what your daily routine is going to look like when it changes so much from the way that it's been for the last several decades. But I just wanted to bring this up and talk about it because these are real people having this conversation. And I just wanted to hear, Jake, from your point of view, if there's anything you would add to that list or anything that you have found in your experiences talking with clients.
Thank you, Cory. And I'm glad you brought it up. And you know what it makes me think of?
A book.
Retiring Right.
Look at that.
A lot of what, and you need to read it, Cory, but a lot of what you just said is in this book. Yep. Because you know what, Cory, you and I, like you mentioned, we've literally had thousands of meetings over the years talking about those two things. And the two takeaways I saw is that let's do tax planning and then let's find out what our new purpose is going to be.
Yes.
If you're not going to work to that job that you hate, what are you going to do? Right? And let's figure out what that is also, because that's very important. You know, you can have $20 million, Cory, but if you don't have a purpose, I would argue that your retirement might not be so great, sadly, right? Even though you've got plenty of money, you have $100 million. If you have no purpose, very difficult. So you got to check in on that. You got to think about it. And the good news is your purpose can change, right? So day one, you don't be like, all right, Cory, this is my purpose for the next 30 years. It doesn't need to be that.
Right.
It can rotate, it can change, it can evolve, it can adapt, it can be a 180, and that's all okay, right? But you got to check in on that purpose and think about it. You got to read the book. For our audience out there, a lot about that is in here, Retiring Right, because that's what I want people to do. I want people to retire on their terms, financially and emotionally, and purpose driven. So good one, Cory. Thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you.
All right, with that, we'll wrap it up. Thank you all for tuning in. As always, if you have any questions or topics that you want Cory and I to address live here on Upticks, simply email Luke at falconwealthadvisors.com, and Luke will make sure that we talk about your topic on Upticks. Cory, good luck with the baby. I can't wait to hear more about her next week. And we thank all of you, and we hope all of you have a great rest of your week.
Thank you for listening to Upticks. Click the subscribe button to be notified when new episodes become available. Also, be sure to visit our website, falconwealthadvisors.com, and click the Contact Us button if you'd like to meet with Jake and his team.